Welcome to the Hamilton County Coaches Show. I'm Perry Williams, and I'm a Guerin Catholic here tonight after Guerin's practice with Coach Tom Dilley. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you. Thanks for coming by.
No problem, no problem. I know this is now we're in season 2.0, aren't we?
Absolutely.
You know, all these records and how everybody doesn't mean a thing right now.
Doesn't mean much at all. We all qualified.
Yeah, we all made it.
Yeah, we made it.
We all passed.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about you play Crawfordsville in the first round, okay? You're in the same bracket with Southmont and Brebeuf. Of course, you played Brebeuf earlier in the season. But the game at hand is Guerin against Crawfordsville, okay? Crawfordsville got a victory last week, their first one of the season. The program is definitely rebuilding.
Sure.
But just like we said before, you know, all these numbers and all those things don't mean a thing. So let's talk a little bit about your team and what do you think you played Ron Colley last week, which is a 5A school, which for those who don't know it, you're a 3A school, and so they're a bigger school and come up on the short end 20-10, and then of course the game before with Brebeuf at 41-10, which we talked about earlier off the air. But let's talk a little bit about Crawfordsville and some of the things you know about them and what you think they'll be bringing here on Friday night.
Sure. As you already mentioned, they got a win last week, and we didn't. They had a 50-point explosion and played with a lot of confidence and played hard, and they have some good size up front and some good skilled players, and we expect them to come in with a lot of energy and a good plan. You can tell they're well coached, and we need to be at our best.
Absolutely. Now, Coach, they play in the Sagamore Conference. In that conference, has Western Boone, which is a very good football team and has basically run the table this year. And they played a 3A, Greencastle 8-1. I guess my point is they played some pretty good football team. Lebden, even though they're 5-4, has played a pretty good schedule along with Tri-West and stuff. So this team plays a very good schedule. Basically, are they a running team, passing team, or a little bit of both, a balanced attack?
I mean, they want to run the ball, but I think they've demonstrated the ability to do both. I don't know what their percentages are. I mean, they're a little bit heavier on the run side, but they have the ability to do both, and they have some kids that can go up and get the ball, and they have some size up front and some good backs and a good plan. So, we need to defend the whole field and defend the run and pass like we always do. But it starts with stopping the run. Absolutely.
And in their game last week with Frankfort, they only gave up 8 points. They've given up quite a few points this year, but a lot of times you get a team gets on a roll and sometimes the kids just get down and before you know it, somebody's put 2 or 3 touchdowns on you. So
absolutely. With opening night happening this Friday, I mean, we both enter with the same records, and defensive, offensive averages don't mean anything. We do expect them to come in with a lot of belief and excitement, and that's the way it should be. And we need to match that and just play our best game.
All right. What about Guerin Catholic Eagles? I know probably a great game you played against Columbus North. In fact, they're 8-1, and you're the only team that beat them. So that was a great win for you. You guys played a very good schedule. I mean, that Circle City conference that you guys play in, it's a very, very good conference. And
absolutely.
You got Brebeuf, Chittard, Ron Colley, so there's some tough teams there. What about when you went up to Michigan and played Notre Dame? Another formidable opponent.
Yeah, they were a good club. They're very well coached. Pat Fox up there is made his name as a kind of a good defensive coach. He's been a head coach up there for about 30 years, maybe at Notre Dame for about 5. But anyway, they were great hosts. It was a wonderful trip, and they did a good job of accommodating us. But they were a good team and physical, had some good players. we were able to get up on them and put them away.
What, the one thing about it is that, a lot of schools are doing that now, or are traveling out of state for a game, and of course Cathedral has to do that quite often because with getting some good formidable opponents. But is that a good team building process to go up there and spend time with each other and stuff a little bit closer than normal?
You hope
trip
so.
Up and
we didn't necessarily choose to make that trip because of that. It was kind of out of necessity. We needed a game, and with a lot of conferences that time of year, people are locked into a lot of games and things like that. So we had a hole that we needed to fill, and it was a little bit longer than maybe you'd like to go. And we didn't spend the night or anything. It was just left early on Saturday and came back really late on Saturday, maybe even on Sunday, if I can't remember. But no, it was certainly good to travel with each other and so forth. I mean, the travel back, I think most of them were asleep most of the time, so I don't know if that really counts for much. But yeah, to go into a strange place and all you've really got is your teammates, I think that's important, and it's a memorable trip. I'm sure the kids will remember, especially we played pretty well. But it was nice, too. We had a pretty good presence of parents and some other people who made that long trip, which was really nice.
Because, the one thing that, in our, schedules, and especially in Hamilton County and in Central Indiana, there's so many teams that, you're really close to. And, I mean, the coaches, all the kids know the players and things like that, especially when you play, like Central Catholic and Heritage Christian and Chittard and Brebeuf and Roncalli. I mean, these kids all know each other. So to take them out of their comfort zone a little bit and go up there, Michigan's a little bit different compared, because they don't know anything really.
It's fun to play people you don't normally play, especially when they're solid, well coached, and it's fun to go places you don't normally go. But we're not going to be upset when they have to come to us next year.
Yeah, that'll
and
be
not have to make 10 hours of driving during the day. I thought the kids responded pretty well to that. But that was a long time ago too. But I thought it was a good day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about Sectional 26. You got Crawfordsville on Friday night, and Hamilton County TV will be here to broadcast that game. And of course, it'll be on the Indiana High School Athletic TV network also, so there'll be a lot of ways to watch that game, and we're excited about doing it here. Also in Sectional 26 in that upper bracket is Southmont plays Brebeuf, okay? And like we said, the records don't mean anything now, so you can throw that kind of out the window. Now, can you explain to me a little bit, because this is always confusing, and even when I listened to the drawing that day, and Bob Lovell explained it to the end, like in this situation, Brebeuf's a host and Guerin's a host. So how does that work next week? Or the same way with the two teams that are in the top?
Sure. Yeah, when you go to the second week of the tournament, if one team hosted and the other one didn't, then the one that didn't obviously gets to host.
Absolutely.
If they both hosted, it goes to the bottom team in the bracket as you look down the line. So, we're certainly not looking towards anything like that at this point.
Because you have to play one game at a time.
Absolutely, but it goes to the second named team.
Okay, I always get a little bit confused about that.
Well, but then they go to they go to tiebreaker kind of thing, and when you get to the regionals where it's the odd numbered or even numbered sectional one year and the next, and hopefully we have to worry about that down the road, but we haven't.
Yeah, you don't even look forward. You can't look ahead on anything like that. Player-wise, with Guerin, how do you feel about the offense and the defense going against Crawfordsville this week? You feel like you're, I know, like we talked out there, it's only Wednesday, so and you have to play on Friday, but
sure.
But there's always those bangs and bruises, but everyone has that right now. I mean,
Absolutely.
You've played 9 tough football games all year long, and I know you feel with the schedule you had, those first 9 practice games you had. Now it's tournament time here. You feel like you're pretty well prepared as a team.
Yeah, I think our our regular season or preseason, whatever you look at it, certainly allowed us to grow as a team and expose some weaknesses that we've been working on, and helped us find our identity as far as what we are good at, what we can do, and what we need to focus on. And there have been some players who have had to step up, whether moving positions or just stepping up the depth chart for various reasons, and they've responded pretty well. But this week is a new week, and we need to coach them up and make sure they're prepared and have a good day of practice tomorrow. Got some good things done today, but it wasn't perfect certainly, so we'll try to build on it tomorrow and be ready for Friday.
Because it's and we talked about this earlier, and is the preparation for you preparing for the tournament much different than it is in the regular season? I mean, you're much more familiar with who you're playing year in, year out, because your schedule doesn't change that much. Sure. But yeah, 2 weeks ago you knew you were going to play Crawfordsville, and I'm sure you knew very little about Crawfordsville.
Right. Yeah, and we didn't really look at them much until this week, and just like we won't look at whoever we might get to play the following week, and if we're fortunate enough to get through Friday. So, I think you certainly think this time of year the preparation has to step up a notch. I don't think so. If you can step up a notch, why weren't you preparing that hard earlier on? So we try to live by treating every game the same, and our goal each week is to simply win the next game and play our best football game. That certainly doesn't change. Obviously, the stakes are a little bit different, but if you get too wrapped up in that, that can be a distraction, and can be something that can paralyze you a little bit if you worry too much about some of that stuff. But my big thing is, can you step up your preparation? Because if you can, why weren't you doing it as hard as you could in week 5 or week 4 or whatever it is? So. We try to do our best every week, and there are always things that we're learning that we continually can do better as coaches too. But other than that, we don't have a different approach when we get to week 10.
Yeah, but the one thing about it is, maybe the mindset may be a tad bit different, because if you lose, there's no next week. I mean, through the first 9 games, you had that time to say, well, we can improve on that next week, or we can improve on that next week. So you have to make sure that your team understands that, and them coming in here 1-8, they've had a tough season, but they did end on a win, okay, which had to be big for them because they haven't won for a while. So, and once you get that taste of a victory, it's a pretty nice feeling, and so that will be an interesting thing. Mm-hmm. And of course, the Buff's always a rivalry of yours, and you can't look forward to playing them because you got to get through Crawfordsville.
Sure. So. Yeah, we have no idea what's going to happen next week. This is all we have. So, we've always talked to our kids about, we don't talk about a sectional or a regional. This is state championship game number 1. It needs to be approached that way because it really is that.
Right.
If you lose it, for certain. Again, not to get too wrapped up in that, because it can distract you and either make you feel some undue pressure or something that's really not real. We just want to focus on being as prepared as we can for this Friday and go out having fun playing this great game.
Well, you basically, really, whoever's on your schedule whoever lines up across you every week shouldn't really matter. If you're prepared for what you need to do in a football game at your position, then you could beat anybody.
We certainly want to be familiar with our opponent, but only so we can execute what we're trying to do.
Right.
While we know there are some natural emotional issues that come in when you're playing a rival and things like that, I really think it's important to treat all these games the same, and that's what we're trying to do, and hopefully our kids will be ready to go on Friday.
Well, Coach Dilley, I know it's you've been in practice today and everything. I appreciate you taking time out after practice and talking with us, and Hamilton County TV is certainly looking forward to coming here and broadcast your game this Friday, and we wish you the best, Coach.
No, we're looking forward to having you and appreciate you coming over. I know it's tough for you to take this show on the road.
Yeah,
so we appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you, Coach.